video, we're going to do some practice problems from your Learning Goals worksheet. We won't do questions 1 to 4 because those you can find in your lessons. But we're going to do some examples from question 5 to make sure you understand how to approach this. So you're given a scenario, and for this scenario you must find the variables, the independent, dependent, and some control variables, at least 2. So the example is done for you. Ronald McDonald wants to know if eating more fries increases body weight. So Ronald would change the amount of fries that people are eating. Maybe give one group no fries, one group, small fries, one group medium fries, one group large fries. So the amount of fries would change based on the scientist. And then they would measure the body weight. So which group has a bigger increase in body weight. That would be your dependent variable. And so that would be what you're trying to measure. And then some control variables would be, well, how much salt is there on the fries? So if they have different amounts of salt, is it the amount of fries or the amount of salt that caused the weight gain or the weight loss? The brand of fries was if they have different amount of fries, but one group has McDonald's, one group has Burger King, and one group has baked in the oven homemade fries, will that affect the body weight gain instead? So you have to make sure those are kept the same. So in our next example, a driving instructor wants to know if younger drivers have more accidents than older drivers. So what is the experimenter sort of changing? What's the variable that's changing in this situation? Well, it would be the age of driver. What are they measuring? Well, they're trying to see the number of accidents. So what are some things that should be kept the same if you want to make sure that it's really only age of driver being the effect here, being the cause here, and nothing else? Well, maybe you might look at driving ability. Can they all drive the same way? You might look at type of car. You might look at season that they're driving in. You might look in the terrain they're driving in. So there's a whole bunch of different factors you can look at that should be kept the same to make sure it's really only age of driver that might be the cause of the number of accidents. Let's take a look at scenario C. Super Mario wants to know which mushroom will make him grow the tallest. So Super Mario is changing the mushrooms. So we'd have type of mushroom that Super Mario is experimenting with. If you don't know this scenario, it's basically a video game where there's a character who consumes a mushroom and grows taller, and then he's stronger. So type of mushroom would be the independent variable. Okay, well, dependent variable, what's Mario measuring? What's the effect? It's his growth, his height. Now, what are some things that should be kept the same between the 3 types of mushroom that you're testing? Because you're testing A, B, and C. So Mario tests A to see how tall he grows, tests B to see how tall he grows, and tests C to see how tall he grows. Well, maybe the amount of mushrooms consumed. Because if you consume more A and not as much B, is that fair? Are you really seeing which mushroom, can you really conclude that A makes you grow taller than B if you have different amounts? So amount of mushroom, perhaps, you can look at. Maybe you can look at freshness of the mushroom. So maybe if Mario has the same amount of each A, B, C, so 5 of each, but A is the freshest one, that makes him grow taller. Is it because it's really because of mushroom A, or is it because of the freshness of it? So maybe the freshness should be the same for all mushrooms. So you have to be creative with thinking about some things that might be different, or that could affect growth, the growth, and then keep those the same, because you really just want to see if it's the type specifically. That's why I said type as opposed to, freshness for my independent variable. The last scenario, D, One Direction singer Harry Styles wants to determine which hairstyle, A, B, or C, will make more fans like him. So, Harry Styles is choosing between 3 hairstyles. So we'd have hairstyle would be our independent variable. And then we'd have, let's say, fan love or fan appreciation. So which hairstyle would make the fans appreciate Harry Styles more? Okay, well, what are some control variables to make sure it's only hairstyle you're looking at? So maybe for each of the hairstyles, If you only want to test hairstyle, Harry Styles should have the same outfit on. Or maybe Harry Styles might have to have sing the same song. Because what if it's the song that made the fans appreciate it more, not the hairstyle? Or maybe same smile. What if Harry Styles is doing a different smile for every hairstyle? Maybe people preferred one smile over another, or one facial expression over another. So these are different things that you might need to keep the same to make sure you're really only testing out the hairstyle and nothing else. These are silly examples, but you do this in everyday life. Every time you try to solve a problem, or you're curious about modifying a recipe, for example. So if you cook, you might be trying to test out the perfect amount of salt for whatever you're cooking, or the perfect amount of sugar. Well, you better make sure that you're only really changing the amount of sugar, the amount of salt, and nothing else, because now you're not sure if it was the sugar or the salt, the different amounts of sugar or salt, that made the food taste different. Was there something else that you changed as well? So everyday life works this way. You have to problem solve by keeping some things the same and changing other things to make sure you're really identifying the cause. And that's how scientific experiments work. For the other questions, you can, as I mentioned, you can take a look in your notes, read over your notes, and then see if you can answer those questions. All answers are there. Please make sure you do the practice quiz on this page here, and also all the other practice scenarios provided.